What's up, everybody? My name is OMGWTF, LOLFTWBRB. Sorry for the abrupt intro there. Sometimes, I do the old boxing, let's get ready to rumble kind of thing there, but it's a little late. I don't want to be too loud. I don't know if anybody's getting ready to go to sleep or whatnot, so it's still like a Thursday, so I think my family still goes to bed pretty sleep. Not like you guys care, but I made a promise to you guys. I want to get these videos out. I don't know if I'll be able to keep the promise and get them up by today, then when I'm recording them, of course, Thursday, September 27th, 2018, to those of you in the future who care. But I am going to get this week up for you guys. This is the week of Hell in a Cell. So we've got Raw, SmackDown, 205 Live, NXT, and the Mae Young Classic all going up. And I think I'm going to upload Hell in a Cell on a day by itself and let that kind of be the only upload that way, because pay-per-views seem to be the more um, popular videos of the series, as they should be. So let's just stop wasting time. Let's jump in on this episode of Monday Night Raw, September 10th, 2018. Main event, Finn Balor versus Elias. So 73 B- rating to start off the night, as the Dogs of War, the new stable of Braun Strowman, Dolph Ziggler, and Drew McIntyre that was started not too long ago, finally got an official name. They come out with a promo on the Shield pretty much saying how they run the yard now. Eventually, the Shield comes out and interrupts them. They brawl with all the superstars on the outside of the ring. Pretty much those superstars were the ones who, as the Dogs of War put it, stood up to the Shield's bullying superstars like, the Authors of Pain, Elias, Kevin Owens, Mojo Rawley, Drew Gulak, Superstar, a lot of heels down there. Jinder Mahal, of course, was down there as well. In fact, the only reason he's featured here is because he was thrown in the ring and kind of made an example of. So I figured, well, since you're the one that was actually thrown in the ring and made an example of, let's feature you and have you actually get beat up by the Shield. So there you have that. 73 B-, not a bad way to start off the show. Rollins getting better at his gimmick. Got the show off to a strong start. Oh, apparently my phone's ringtone is still on. Let's turn that off before. Okay. Crowd got hot for this. Roman Reigns and the Strowman feud gained some heat. Probably should change the Brock Lesnar part there, but we know Brock Lesnar's in this feud still. But still, it's weird. Roman Reigns v Brock Lesnar v Strowman, when right now it really should just be Roman Reigns and Braun. And Ziggler is developing better performance skills, so good for Dolph, the veteran in this angle here, and he's still improving. 62 solid C rating as we hype up the night. Ronda Rousey teams with Natalya to take on Alexa Bliss and Mickie James, and Triple H will be here tonight to respond to what The Undertaker had to say last week. 48 D+ as we get a little bit of a earlier tonight segment, I guess, before the show began. Brie and Nikki Bella, the Bella twins, go to enter their locker room, which when they open the door, they realize it's all trashed and messed up. Of course, done by the Riot Squad. Duh, because, well, guess who's Nikki's facing tonight? Ruby Riot. So Riot Squad up to their usual antics as we get a little bit of, I guess, a story heading into Nikki and Ruby's match later on. 70 C+ rating here as Constable Baron Corbin, the acting general manager at the time. Of course, Kurt Angle's on vacation because of Stephanie. He lets the Shield know that they have to vacate the premises pretty much. He has security there to take them away. They're not down for that, but if they don't vacate the premises, Constable Baron Corbin is going to have them pretty much vacate their titles, taking the Intercontinental title away from Seth Rollins and the Universal title away from Roman Reigns. Dean Ambrose really doesn't have anything to lose here, but I guess he's okay with his, making sure his brothers still carry their gold, because even though Seth Rollins had to hold him back a little bit, the Shield ended up leaving the premises, as Corbin said. All right, 61 solid C rating here as we have our opening match of the night. Not bad for a women's match, but then again, Nikki Bella is pretty popular, so that definitely helps her out a little bit. 61 solid C, decent matchup. Nikki Bella goes over Ruby Riott in 7 minutes 52 seconds with the Bella Bash, whatever the hell that is. I'm pretty sure she beat her with a rack attack, though. Brie Bella, of course, was at ringside with Nikki. Liv and Sarah Logan were both at ringside, but can't feature two, so only Liv technically was down there. But the match itself wasn't too bad. It was, your average Nikki Bella match. Brie Bella was not in competition here. But she was in competition last week. I did have to pretty much change her out with Trish Stratus because she wasn't under contract for active competition. She is now, so for you guys who wanted to see her match against Maurice on SmackDown, don't you worry. You won't see that because it wasn't a match. We all know that already if you watch SmackDown. But you will see the mixed tag team match on Hell in a Cell. She is under contract to compete now, so that's good. But last week she almost killed herself with the crossbody. This week on Raw we saw her knock Liv Morgan out. Brie Bella's got a lot of heat on her, and I figure while it's fresh in my mind, let me I guess throw my 2 cents in there. And my 2 cents is pretty much this. Brie Bella is, she's rusty. She has been out of action for how long? And I know some of you are already saying, well, that's not an excuse. That's on WWE. And you're right. You're completely right. That is on WWE. They should have had her pretty much get in active competition. And I'm sure she's been working with Daniel Bryan, but it is different when you're in front of a crowd and when you're not. But I guess maybe you can also argue that Brie should be used to it. But Brie has, I'd imagine she has some extreme rust on her hands. She hasn't wrestled since she's given birth, I believe. And if she has, must have been like a tag team match where she can really hide a lot of her flaws. And Bully Ray, a.k.a. Bubba Ray Dudley, put it best with Brie Bella and Liv Morgan when he said, what happened in that ring was a combination of inexperience on Liv Morgan's side and Brie Bella's ring rust, because Liv Morgan, not the most experienced, wrestler in the world. You could definitely tell, she put her face down at the wrong time, and, that's Brie connected right in the face. And, of course, Brie, with being ring rusty, didn't really catch up on it until it's already been happened and done. So it was a combination of both of them. It's a sad thing that it happened, and it's a sad thing that Brie's getting a lot of slack here because, in all honesty, she's out there trying. Can a lot of you guys do much better? You guys aren't the one wrestling, but still. Give Brie Bella some slack, I guess. She's out there. She's doing her best. She's better than some of the other women on the roster. She ain't no Ronda Rousey, but can you argue that Alexa Bliss is doing something so much better? At least Brie's doing moves. Alexa Bliss just does a lot of hair pulling and holds, but I digress. That's kind of my 2 cents in there. But my other big thing is there's some people out there calling for Brie Bella's firing, saying that, she's too unsafe, you need to fire her right now. And my rebuttal to those people are, if you're going to fire Brie Bella, then you might as well fire Sasha Banks. Because Brie Bella, being extremely rusty in the ring with someone who's inexperienced in the first place too. So there you have that alone. Like Bully Ray said, inexperience and rust meeting each other never ends up well. But Brie Bella being rusty, hasn't been in the ring in a while. And sure, she's botched a couple times, and she most likely concussed Liv Morgan. I haven't heard anything from it. But Sasha Banks, who's on the road, 365 days a year, gives Paige a stiff kick, almost as stiff as the kick that Goldberg gives Bret Hart when he ended his career, and ended the career of Paige. And everyone's, Sasha didn't mean to do it, Sasha didn't mean to, and no one's saying she meant to do it, but at the same time, you're gonna get call for Brie Bella's firing, but you're not gonna call for Sasha Banks. That's a little bit of hypocritical, if you ask me. Sasha Banks, in my opinion, is just as an unsafe worker as Brie Bella is. We've seen her outside dives. We've seen Sasha almost kill herself on the outside dives to the ring. So, there's a lot going on, but that's just my 2 cents there. I don't want to get onto it. I've already talked way too much about it. I want to get through these videos kind of quickly as well, so let's move on, shall we? Unfortunately, there seemed to be a lack of psychology, but that's to be expected. Nikki Bella with an in-ring performance of a 70. Ruby Riott with a 41. Good for her. And Ruby making the best of her match here tonight, improving in her Rumble. So, good on you, Ruby. 55 C- rating as we get more hype for tonight's matches, as once again, Ronda Rousey and Natalya will team up to take on Alexa Bliss and Mickie James. And we will have a Tag Team Championship rematch as the B Team cashes in on their rematch clause and challenges for the Raw Tag Team titles, taking on Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre, the team who beat them last week. 77 solid B rating as we hype up the fact that we'll get a look at the historic confrontation between The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels from last week. So that's going to be taking place tonight, I guess. 81 solid B here. This is kind of a weird angle. It doesn't really affect anything, but Big Show was in there and Stephanie was in there, so I was like, well, I found a way to fill the time that WWE filled with this. So it's just kind of the Connor's Cure promotion where they've been introducing, like, I guess, boy, I want to say they're from Shriners, but I could just be talking from experience with my little brother's experience with Shriners Hospital, so I don't know if it is from Shriners, but the whole Connor's Cure promotion thing, they have a bunch of kids, with all sorts of, either they have like cancer or something going on, and it's a good program. They're promoting it. They all got like some sort of gimmick and all that. But this is pretty much what this was, with Big Show standing out there and introducing all the kids to the crowd. One of them kind of cracked me up. You had this little girl at the end, and she was just all over the place, and you see her mom just really trying her damnedest to like keep her entertained, like in the crowd, but she just wanted to rush all over the place. So it was a great stuff. But 81 solid B, that's actually a really good segment. So you got Big Show and Stephanie McMahon, who was also featured in the segment as well. So there you have that. 77 solid B. Damn, WWE using these legends, it's kind of cheating. 77 solid B here as we get a recap of the historic confrontation from last week when Shawn Michaels chose Triple H to win, and then The Undertaker came down pretty much accusing Shawn Michaels of only choosing Triple H to win because Taker ended his career. Then, of course, Michaels saying that he only, he stayed retired out of respect. You only stayed retired because you feared me, pretty much, back and forth. It was great stuff. You all know what I'm talking about here. In fact, it was so great, it's led people to think that there's going to be a match between Shawn Michaels and Taker, which I, for one, would not mind. 77 solid B once again as we hype up the fact that Triple H will be here live tonight. 58 C- as we see the GM of 205 Live, Drake Maverick, psyching up his boys, the AOP, Authors of Pain, backstage. I gotta get a better picture of Drake Maverick. He looks like he's just so stoned in that picture. And then we go into a tag team matchup here, 33 E+ rating, and an abysmal matchup. The Authors of Pain go over Ronnie Ace and Nathan Bradley, two local talent superstars, in a minute 55 seconds when Razor defeats Ronnie Ace by pinfall. And yes, if you guys are asking the question right now, that is indeed Wes Briscoe and Garrett Bischoff. And no, Wes Briscoe and Garrett Bischoff were not on this episode of Monday Night Raw, but they were, honestly, they kind of looked like the two superstars who were in there, and they were honestly kind of two of the closer two. I mean, I probably could have found someone a little bit better than Garrett Bischoff, but with Wes Briscoe looking the most like the guy who portrayed Ronnie Ace, I was like, I might as well just go for Garrett Bischoff. He looks closest to Nathan Bradley anyway. They used to be a team in TNA. Why not do it? I thought it would have been a nice little homage. So that is indeed, yes, Wes Briscoe, son of, is it Gerald Briscoe? I don't know. And then, of course, you got Garrett Bischoff, son of Eric Bischoff. So there you have that. Ronnie Ace, who was Wes Briscoe, was off his game apparently. Drake Maverick doing some good work ringside, that being Rockstar Spud. Nathan Bradley, of course, was Garrett Bischoff, but no notes about him. It did cool the crowd a little bit. Garrett Bischoff, a.k.a. Nathan Bradley, was the worst of the match with an in-ring performance of a 20. Ronnie Ace, a.k.a. Wes Briscoe, not too far behind, or too far ahead, I should say, of Bischoff here with only 2 points above him with a 22 in-ring performance. Razor with a 41, 1 point better than his partner Akam. And Nathan Bradley, a.k.a. Garrett Bischoff, making the best of his appearance here tonight, improving in his Rumble. Good for him. 74 B- rating because, Hell in a Cell is coming up. I guess Monday Night Raw and SmackDown are kind of taking turns promoting each other's matches. So here we have Raw promoting the feud between Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton, highlighting their feud. The upcoming Hell in a Cell match between the two at Hell in a Cell. 74 B- for that. 79 solid B as Triple H has arrived, and apparently Stephanie McMahon is his manager, so that is my bad, but we'll have to just deal with it. They have good chemistry, so that'll help. And then an 84 B+ rating. Hell yeah, that might be the best. No, I think Shawn Michaels and Undertaker had like an A maybe. Nonetheless, Triple H does come down to the ring. He cuts a promo on it, saying how he feels pretty much The Undertaker has lost respect for Shawn Michaels, and that's pretty much made it personal, and how he's promised to put an end, or put The Undertaker down at Super Showdown pretty much. So there you have that, 84 B+. Triple H and Stephanie have that chemistry, but ignore that. Did get the crowd hotter, gained some heat for their feud, and Triple H is now Ike. If you guys don't know who Ike is, if you've never played Super Smash Brothers, I'd say you never played Fire Emblem, but Fire Emblem's not the most popular game, so. And I've never even played Ike's Fire Emblem game, and I'm a Fire Emblem fan, but Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn are just too expensive nowadays. Like, good God. It's expensive games, guys. Expensive games. But if you haven't played any Smash Brothers games, I don't know where you've lived in, but Ike fights for his friends, and so does Triple H. So there you have that. 64 solid C rating here as we get a recap of the Shield Brawl from the opening angle tonight, of course, featuring Strowman, Ziggler, and Drew McIntyre as well. And then the Shield, of course, being forced to leave by Constable Baron Corbin. 72 B- rating here. Now, I knew something like this was going to happen, guys. I knew something like this was going to happen. I believe I even said this in the last video on Raw, that I probably should just put Mick Foley in this location and just hire him for that night. That way I don't have to worry about his contract not coming up. But I figured, you know what? No, it's a week. He should get back to me in time. The motherfucker did not get back to me in time. Are you kidding me, Mick? Brianna Danielson, aka Brie Bella, got back to me in time, but not Mick freaking Foley? You're too good for the WWE, Mick Foley? Well, you know what, Mick Foley? You know what happens when you're too good for the WWE and won't get my contract signed in time to get you on the damn show like WWE really did? You get replaced by Kane. That's what you do. That's what happens. It should have been Chris Jericho because, well, I was kind of leading up to that bit, but I felt Kane was a little bit more of a fit for Hell in a Cell than Chris Jericho, who's really only been like maybe 1 or 2 Hell in a Cell matches. So I don't know if Kane's ever been in a Hell in a Cell, though. I'm pretty sure he's been in at least one. What is this? No, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. So Kane is going to be kind of taking the place of Mankind, a.k.a. Mick Foley, a.k.a. Cactus Jack, a.k.a. Dude Love, a.k.a. the Shredder, or whatever the hell his other gimmick that never got greenlit was going to be. Because Mick Foley didn't get back to me in time, I'm hoping, I'd believe that he would get back to me in time before Hell in a Cell, because, spoiler alert, he's a special guest referee for the match, but if not, it's not that big of a deal. But I'm sure he will. But he didn't tonight, the jackass. 45 solid D rating as we see Bliss and Company, Mickie James, and Alicia Fox just kind of planning backstage. Alicia Fox is getting better at her gimmick. 47 solid D rating as it is time for the Raw Tag Team Championships. But before we get to the match, we got to have our introductions. JoJo introducing the challengers, the B Team, Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel, and the champions, Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre. I guess the Dogs of War is what their name is now. All right, rematch time gets a 68 C+ rating. I'm not entirely sure what the match from last week got. I should have checked it, but that's fine. 68 C+ rating and a decent matchup here. Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler defeat the B Team in 7 minutes 55 seconds after Drew McIntyre defeats Bo Dallas with the Claymore kick, and it was kind of the Claymore like zigzag combination here. Nonetheless, Drew and Dolph make their first defense of the WWE Raw Tag Team titles. Bo Dallas getting better at his gimmick, that's good. Curtis Axel with an in-ring performance of a 53, Bo with a 48, worst the match. Drew McIntyre with a 63, and Dolph Ziggler with a 68, the best of the match. Also, Ziggler improving in his technical. Good for him. 76 B- as afterwards, the champions are attacked from behind by Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, who pretty much just get a quick beat down on them. And we'll figure out why they're here, despite, you know, being, I guess, kicked out earlier in the night. But they found a little bit of a loophole. Rollins getting better at his gimmick. It did gain some heat back to the, or I guess, I don't know if they lost heat, but it gained heat nonetheless for the feud between Shield and McIntyre and Ziggler here. 76 B- rating as we get a look back at the historic Hell in a Cell match between The Undertaker and Man-Cane. Because, remind you, Mick Foley's not here tonight, and Kane's playing the role, so we gotta have Man-Cane instead of Mankind, right? But there you have that. Just looking pretty much back at the historic, you know, Hell in a Cell between Mankind and The Undertaker. Of course, when Taker tossed Mankind off the cell through the table, and then through the cell as well. Brutal match. We've all seen it. It's a classic. If you haven't seen it, stop watching this damn video. It's not that important. Go to WWE Network. If you don't have WWE Network, I'm sure you can find it on YouTube. You can find it somewhere. Watch the damn match. It's history. We got some people's input on the match as well. Some superstars like Hall of Famers like Jerry the King Lawler,
Chris Jericho, 1/2 of the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, Kofi Kingston, and 1/3 of the New Day, I may add. Jim Ross, another Hall of Famer, John Cena, and Shawn Michaels. So good stuff all around there. 73 B- rating as Constable Baron Corbin pretty much, he's like, I told you guys, if you were barred, Shield was banned from the arena, but you decided to come back in, so I'm going to have to take your titles away. But that's when Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose dropped the bombshell on him, like, the Shield is gone. We're not the Shield. As you can see, he's Seth Rollins, I'm Dean Ambrose. There's no Shield. Where's Roman Reigns, pretty much? And pretty much finding the loophole there because, well, without Roman Reigns, I guess they aren't the Shield, and they're not even wearing their Shield gear. Dean Ambrose has his t-shirt on, Seth Rollins has his t-shirt on, so I guess that's their loophole there. But apparently Constable Corbin did something wrong. I really wasn't paying much attention here because this angle was kind of a little cringy at times, especially with Dean Ambrose. It kind of irritated me because, I'm a big Dean Ambrose fan myself, but I'll get to that in a moment here. We had the sheriff there who almost arrests Baron Corbin, but Corbin finally, cracks and talks to Seth Rollins, and Rollins decides not to press charges. Meanwhile, Ambrose is acting all goofy, like, hey, that ticket that I had, blah, 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 blah. It's just, I thought we were past goofy Dean Ambrose, like, with his mannerisms and how he's just, like, earlier tonight when he was, being banned from the arena alongside Rollins and Roman by Corbin, it looked like he was just ready to rip Corbin's throat out. And here he's just all joking around, having a good time. And I'm like, come on, I thought we were past this. I thought Dean was finally, that I don't give a damn, I'm here to fight, and if you get in my way, I'll punch your teeth down your throat kind of guy, but whatever. It's fine, I guess. Seth Rollins getting better at his gimmick. Something I should do is start teasing a Dean Ambrose heel turn, because one of the things we all believe is going to happen is Ambrose will turn on Rollins eventually, and we wouldn't want that to go bad if it's going to happen randomly, but maybe tease it since, he returned, and that it should have started probably being teased since he returned. I'm going to take a quick drink of some A&W root beer, sponsored, not sponsored, by the way. A&W root beer sponsor me. I prefer mug, but if you sponsor me, I might prefer A&W. 65 solid C rating as Kevin Owens is in-ring action against Tyler Breeze. He quit last week, or not last week, but 2 weeks ago, but last week he returned to fight Bobby Lashley, and now he's here to fight Tyler Breeze. And before the match begins, he goes right after Tyler Breeze, beats him down. He then takes the mic to explain to himself that he was ready to quit, but Constable Baron Corbin, the only guy who really recognizes Kevin Owens' talent, pretty much begged him to stay, and Kevin Owens agreed to stay on one condition, and that condition be that he can do whatever he wants, which meaning what he did to Tyler Breeze was perfectly fine, and the reason that he's going after Bobby Lashley is because Lashley's the reason that his best friend, Sami Zayn, is not by his side like he should be. So, there you have that. I guess it's a reason. It's okay, I guess. Crowd was hot for this. Kevin Owens was good. Gained some heat for Lashley and Owens feud, but if you personally ask me, I still think you should have kept Kevin Owens off TV. Maybe have him and Sami return together, and then they go after Bobby Lashley instead of, pulling the trigger right now, but that's fine. Let's not aim before we pull the trigger. Let's just pull the trigger and hope it just hits something, right? 94 solid A rating here, guys, as we have our third episode, part 1 of John Cena and Friends. Last time we left you off with Stone Cold Steve Austin leading John Cena in the desert and kind of leaving him in the desert as well, as John Cena runs into none other than the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, baby, who is out there hunting for rattlesnakes or something, who knows. John Cena's so thirsty, he has to drink some water. HBK, well, maybe not the water, he thinks he's hallucinating. He sees some food, he goes to eat it. HBK takes it as him pretty much trying to get his prey. Him and Cena kind of have a little bit of a spat. John thinks, he's an illusion. They go for a little bit of a fight back and forth. Shawn Michaels ends up winning the fight because John Cena, he's been in this desert. He's a little woozy. He's a drowsy. He hasn't had water. And finally, after Shawn Michaels and John talk it out, Shawn ends, cooking him a good meal, gives him some water, and the two end up wandering the desert together in this hunt, as John Cena is going to get some words of wisdom from the great Heartbreak Kid as we continue through to the next episode of Part 2 of John Cena and Friends. By the way, I come up with this stuff off the top of my head, so you guys got to give me some credit. Shawn Michaels also learning to show more charisma. Thank you, John Cena. Thank you. 73 B minus as we get a look at the feud between Samoa Joe and AJ Styles. So similar to what we saw with Jeff and Randy Orton earlier. Same thing here. 60 solid C rating here as we get kind of a Bobby Roode and Chad Gable pre-match promo. Looks like they are going to be starting a feud between these two. At least that's what I believe is going to be happening, because during this angle here and even during the match, Chad Gable seems like he's taking the spotlight away from Bobby Roode. And if I know Bobby Roode, he's all about the spotlight, and eventually it's going to piss him off. But here, you know, when Bobby Roode's getting ready to say glorious, Gable says glorious for him pretty much, and then we'll get to what happens in the matchup here. So I don't know which one's going to turn, but I am starting to tease heel turns for both of them, and we'll see where it goes. Apparently Chad Gable, his heel turn completely... Wait, what? Hints at a heel turn. Oh, who remember his very recent turn, but I doubt it'll be Chad Gable. If anyone's turning heel, it'll probably be Bobby Roode. But we went ahead and started the segment, or a storyline, I should say. So the two are in tag team action. A little bit of a rematch from last week. We have a 55 C- rating here, and about that had subpar wrestling and little heat to it. Roode and Gable pick up their second victory over the Ascension in 6 minutes 25 seconds. After Chad Gable picks up the victory over Victor with the bridging German suplex. So again, similar to what we saw in the angle there, where Chad kind of stole the glorious spot from Bobby Roode. He's getting ready to hit the glorious DDT. Chad Gable tags himself in, though, and Roode's ready to, hit him with it, and he's the one that gets the victory. So, like I said, again, it looks like Gable's going to overstep his bounds, at one point, and Roode's just going to have to put him back in his place, and we might see a feud between these two in the future. Gable with an in-ring performance of a 49. Bobby Roode with a 54. He was the best of the match. Victor with a 45. And Connor with a 43, the worst of the match. Victor's also making some improvements here, improving in his Rumble and Technical. Good for him. Solid 60 C rating here as both Natalya and Ronda Rousey warm up for their upcoming tag team match against Alexa Bliss and Mickie James. 51 D+ rating as WWE hypes the fact, I believe at some E award ceremony or something, both Nikki Bella and Nia Jax are nominated for awards. I know Nikki's like best reality TV star, and I think Nia's like breakout something. I don't remember, to be honest. I find it interesting how Nia can be up for an award for like a sports award, but maybe it's not sports, but that's what I thought it was. But, she whatever. Who cares? 58 C- rating here. Ronda Rousey and Alexa Bliss, their match is hyped for Hell in a Cell. Come on, I pressed the button, game. Don't do that to me. Don't do me like that. 69 C+ rating for our tag team matchup here. And a decent matchup. Ronda Rousey and Natalya go over Alexa Bliss and Mickie James in 13 minutes 46 seconds after Ronda Rousey makes Mickie James tap out. And in terms of in-ring works, Ronda Rousey was head and shoulders above everybody else. There you have it. Alicia Fox, of course, doing some good work ringside. Ronda Rousey looking excellent out there. Natalya with an in-ring performance of a 62. Ronda Rousey with a 79. Good God, almost an 80. Mickie James with a 52. And Alexa Bliss, worst of the match, with a 49. Did gain some heat for the Alexa Bliss Ronda Rousey / Trish Stratus feud. So we did go ahead and add Ronda into that feud like I should have done last week. Mickie James is improving in her Rumble, and Ronda Rousey still making improvements as well as she's improving in her technical and performance skills. Good Lord. Solid 62 C rating as afterwards, Ronda Rousey, I guess she still kind of had the hold locked in on Mickie James. No, that's not what happened. They were raising their arms. Referee was raising both Natty and Ronda's arms in victory. Alexa Bliss took advantage of this slight distraction, landed a stiff kick right onto the ribcage of Ronda, looking like she might have injured her in the process, and might have gained herself a little bit of advantage heading into her title match at Hell in a Cell. Also gained some heat for the feud as well. 58 C- rating as we get a look back at the feud between Charlotte and Becky Lynch, similar to what we saw with the previous SmackDown previews later on or earlier tonight. 63 solid C rating as we get confirmation that the Raw Tag Team Championships will be defended at Hell in a Cell. Dolph and Drew will defend their tag team titles against the Shields, Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose, so Rollins has a chance to become a dual champion at the pay-per-view. 72 B minus, as we are backstage. Elias is yelling at his help as always, while Braun Strowman is wandering around yelling for Roman Reigns. He is looking for him. And Dolph Ziggler apparently helped Braun Strowman during this segment. I forgot that Dolph was Braun's manager from last week. Should have took that off. 74 B minus rating as Charlie Caruso pretty much checks on Ronda Rousey backstage, where Ronda makes the statement that says, she doesn't back down from a fight because no matter how healthy she is or whatever percentage she's at, she's the best pretty much. So there you have that for her. 66 C plus rating, as this was supposed to be Mick Foley, but of course Mick Foley doesn't know how to sign pen to paper, so we went with Kane instead. But Elias out here, he's of course doing his normal, performances, shitting on the crowd and all that, doing what Elias does. What would Elias do? Ask yourselves that, guys. Eventually, he's interrupted by Mick Foley, aka Kane, and they come out. Foley does his whole spiel about the Hell in a Cell thing, which Elias kind of calls him out for. Foley brings up the fact that, when they called him, he just made sure, he made it clear that he didn't want to just be here to promote the Hell in a Cell, that he wanted something to do with the Hell in a Cell, and that is when he drops the bombshell and makes the announcement that at Hell in a Cell, he will be the special guest referee inside the Hell in a Cell match against Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns. But before he leaves, I guess he was allowed to make one more match for old time's sake, since he is the former Raw general manager, and he booked Elias in a match against Finn Balor of all people. So that is our next matchup. No, we're good. But before we get to the matchup, 77 solid B, as Braun Strowman is still on the search for Roman Reigns backstage. 69 C plus rating for the match between Finn Balor and Elias. Decent matchup here. Finn Balor goes over Elias in 12 minutes 31 seconds with the coup de grace. Elias was apparently really off his game. That's unfortunate. Finn Balor getting better at his gimmick though, so good for him. Elias with an in-ring performance of a 49. Finn Balor with a 68. Definitely outperforming Elias here tonight. And he's improving in his performance. Performance? What the hell was that? Good for you, Finn Balor. That was our main event of the night, by the way. I know I didn't say main event time. My apologies. But that was indeed the main event of the night. Everything else is pretty much just angles. But right here we have another little interesting angle with Drake Maverick now managing the Authors of Pain. Looks like Lio Rush is the next cruiserweight star, even though I guess Drake Maverick's not really a cruiserweight star. He's the general manager. Nonetheless, Lio Rush is, I guess, Bobby Lashley's new motivator? I don't know what you would call that. Lashley's backstage lifting weights. Rush is just motivating him the entire time. That's his man. So there you have it. I know I heard something about Vince McMahon wanting the cruiserweights to do a lot more on Raw now, but this is a little weird. They're just managers now, it feels like. And I think that's what it was. It wasn't even the cruiserweights. It was Vince McMahon wanting to do more with managers or something, and that's why we're seeing a lot more cruiserweights and whatnot being used as managers. But very interesting idea. Lio Rush and Bobby Lashley, what's interesting about it the most is the fact that Drake Maverick is a face over on 205 Live, but he's a heel here on Raw. And Lio Rush is a heel on 205 Live, but now he's playing a face on Raw. So it's role reversal now. 66 C plus rating as Braun demands to know where Roman is from Charlie Caruso, and she lets him know well, if you go out to the ring, I'm sure you'll find him. And well, Braun agrees, so that's what he's going to do. 74 B minus as we hype up the fact that The Undertaker will be here live next week on Monday Night Raw. And then we end off the show with an 85 B plus rating. Not a bad way to end off the show, to be honest, as Braun Strowman comes out to the ring to call out Roman Reigns, and well, Roman Reigns comes out. He's ready to brawl, and we have a brawl on our hands as the two go back and forth until finally Roman Reigns gains the advantage and ends the fight when he lifts Braun Strowman up with the Samoan drop and puts him through, I guess, a little bit of a setup set on the outside, tables with a cloth on it or something. Pretty much putting Braun Strowman through the tables and standing tall to end off the show. Dolph helped him out, but ignored a fact about that. Dolph should not even have been there. But it did gain heat for the Roman-Strowman feud. No worker improvements. We end off our show, and we get ourselves a 83 B plus rating, increasing our popularity in 36, or is that 5? That's a 5. 35 regions, and I'm going to say it. I think us boosted everyone's popularity, like globally and all that, probably has helped out a lot more, because it seems like after we did that, the ratings have kind of spiked. But I guess that's a good thing? I don't know. Nonetheless, though, that is the end of this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe. My name's been GWTF, LWTWBRB. I will see you guys in SmackDown. Have a